All right. So, as a failed producer, I'm just being transparent. As somebody that used to love hip hop and produce beats and had dreams of being a world famous beat maker, music producer, that's me. I'm that guy. I'm the failed beat maker, the failed music producer. I'm just being honest. I want to get that out the way, full transparency. But I'm somebody that followed Bolo. I follow Ave Mcree. I follow tons of these tutorial YouTube beat makers, music producers. From the small creators to the big dogs, I watch them all. From the ocean to the accurate beats, even busy works beats. Like all these guys, I follow them. Curtis King cookups, tutorials, you name it. You name the producer, the YouTuber, I followed them. I tried to learn as much as I could. If you're thinking back in the day, who was like my idol, who do I look up to? It had to be Knife Wonder, so my whole mind frame back then was like, I'm going to be the next Knife Wonder. I feel like today's time, most recently, it would be probably like Conductor Williams. That's like a boom bap producer that got noticed by Westside Gunn. Next thing you know, he's Drake's producer. You know what I mean? And that's it. And I saw the rise of Conductor. I saw the rise of Knife Wonder before, way before the Black album, and he got the Hove placement and everything took off. They still impress me. I still love Knife Wonder's music, and I'm always checking new Conductor beats, and I love what he's putting together with Drake, and I just love that sound. It is what it is. I know a lot of people don't like Drake right now because we got to pick sides, Kendrick or Drake, but it's on the production side of things. I love what Conductor Williams is doing. Shout out to him. Okay, now moving past that, the whole topic of this video basically spawning from Bolo's video about YouTube. Basically, Bolo was saying that a lot of YouTube producers, their numbers are down, and he started naming names. He got into it with Ab because he named Ab and said Ab's numbers was down, which you're always going to get pushback and get into a verbal scuffle with somebody when you're calling them out or calling their channel out and saying their numbers are low. Those are like YouTube fighting words. If you just be like, yeah, this guy, look at his numbers is down, you're automatically gonna piss that person off. Not to say Bolo was right, because in Av's defense, he hasn't been uploading. So that's what Av was frustrated about. Like, bro, what are you saying? That's false. My numbers aren't down. I just haven't been uploading. That's fair. I'm not disagreeing with Av. I love what Av does. I felt like a lot of what I learned in music and just in general, I just enjoyed his content, learn a ton of stuff from him. Bear with me. This might be all over the place because I don't have a script. I'm just talking off the dome, and you're not going to agree with everything I'm about to say. Might even disagree with all of it. I'm just going to say it. The golden era, the golden age of music tutorials, not beat making, because a lot of people get confused and say, what you trying to say? I'm talking about the golden era of finger drumming and beat making is long gone. And that's where the decline comes from in the numbers. Why did people just move on from being interested in music tutorials? How did people lose interest? What happened? I thought this was a cool niche that was growing, and it was a beat making community that was growing. MPC gang, what up? MPC gang, what up? I got merch. Check out the MPC gang merch. Check out the MPC this, the MPC that. I got some tutorials. I got some packs. I got this. I got that. Buy my beat pack. It's full of hi-hats and bass and kick drums. And what happened, right? What happened was the dream died, okay? And I'm not blaming anybody for killing the dream, but I'm just saying it was a window of time. Say you were like 28, 27. Let's do 27 is a good age. Where you're like old enough to kind of like know about the golden era of hip hop. You appreciate lyrics and you appreciate boom bap beats, right? So you naturally was like, okay, I also appreciate lo-fi, because lo-fi feels like a branch off of Jay Dilla's tree, So it's all these like avenues you can go musically. And a lot of people locked in during that time period. They're 27, they locked in. It was like, I'm going to be the next Swiss Beats. I'm going to be the next Just Blaze. I'm going to be the next this and that. And they were like watching so many tutorials. They were locked in. And I feel like that was like a snowball effect where producers, like YouTube producers, were getting crazy views. Guys like Eldre was like killing it. Anything that said lo-fi in the title, in the thumbnail, it was just doing numbers. It's a ton of other YouTube producers that was killing it. What happened? The dream died. Because after so many years of all these tutorial guys saying, hey, if you do this, you never know, you could get a placement. If you work on your drum patterns and you make this type of beat and you do this, you might get a placement. Your music might get heard by this famous rapper. None of that happened for those guys. And those guys, I mean, that age group, they just were making beats in their basement, and some of the beats was horrible. You know, everybody's not amazing at making beats. You know what I mean? Maybe the beats just sucked, but you can't tell me every producer that's on SoundCloud sucks. Every up and coming producer on Spotify sucks. It's some people that's insanely talented, insanely good, and it's just nobody cares because nobody's like interested in the niche. And it's like, you know, I remember people would just sit and watch YouTube producers finger drum for hours and hours. It was like the coolest thing ever. And now nobody cares. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. You're good at finger drumming, so what? Because the dream of Jay-Z somehow looking at YouTube and being like, hey, I like that guy, bring him out to LA or New York and we're gonna do a studio set, like that kind of faded. You know what I mean? That kind of faded. Like the idea that Kendrick Lamar was going to discover your beat and you were going to be super famous, that just died. Because once you're making beats for 15 years and you got 0 placements, you're looking at, damn, I need to start a family. I need to get a wife, a kid, some kids, and get my CDLs. You know, like life changes. You change. You know, the passion you might have for beat making goes away. You know, so it's like, what do you do with that? If the passion for beat making dies, you're not going to spend 2 hours watching Av's video or Bolo's videos because you gave up. Now, they could say, well, you didn't really love it anyway. They might be right. You know what I mean? Some people get into stuff for the wrong reasons. Maybe it was for fame, clout. Maybe it was for money, you know, because some people, they're 50 years old and they're still in their basement making beats and they don't care if they ever get famous. They just love music. And that's cool too. That's fine too. But I'm just saying, if we're talking about from a consumer standpoint of like, I need people to buy my beat packs and I need people to watch my tutorials for hours so I have retention and my videos go up, my views go up. That's not going to happen because that age group of people, they moved on with life. They just was like, yo, this ain't it. Maybe I wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? Maybe I suck. And they just moved on from music production. Now, did they move on too soon? I mean, it's examples like Conductor. Conductor is kind of up there in age compared to young producers, and he never gave up. And look where he's at. So you can make the argument that if you were like 32 and you're like, oh, I didn't make it, I'm just going to give up on beat making. Maybe you gave up too soon. Different people have different time frames where some people are like, hey, if this doesn't work by age 40, it's time for me to get a warehouse job and move on or something. You know what I mean? Like different people have different time frames for success, or some people have no time frame. So everybody's different. Like I said, I'm rambling. So I hope you're not looking for cohesiveness in this whole ramble with this rant, because you're in the wrong spot. You're in the wrong place. So I want to switch gears here and start talking about Bolo versus Ave. And like, I like both these guys. I don't think they actually have any beef. I don't think they have any beef. I do think Ave leans into the, I don't know if this is intentional. Ave, I apologize. Please don't try to come at me, bro. I'm a nobody, okay? So just take whatever I say with a grain of salt. But it seems like Ave kind of leans into the villain arc, and I don't know if it's intentional. It might be accidental. Maybe he's always been opinionated, but I feel like lately he's been like, anybody says anything that's not super positive about him, he's going in on you. You know, and I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to. He's valid. He can say whatever, but I'm just saying, like, that's how I feel sometimes with Ab. And I'm a huge fan of Ab. I like his content. I just think he plays into the villain a little too much, and it causes people to think it's beef when it's probably not any beef between him and Bolo. Now, as far as the topic of YouTube music producers, music production on YouTube dying, I agree with Bolo. Only thing I agree with Av on is that Av's numbers aren't dipping from this whole situation. I feel like Av's numbers are dipping because he wasn't uploading. But this whole topic isn't about Av's analytics. This is about music production on YouTube. And I feel like people are missing the big picture here. It's a lot of factors that come into play and that's killing music production on YouTube. One of them is copyright strikes. Like, nobody's talking about that. I mean, people talk about it. Avs talked about copyright, but most people, when they talk about it, they only talk about, oh, my channel got striked. Oh, look what happened. They don't talk about how it's affecting the whole community, you know, like how it's affecting not only them, but just like it's deterring, it's making people not want to even do a tutorial, because why would you use this kick drum pattern doing a tutorial, or this sample doing a tutorial? Then you're going to get copyright strike again and again, get your channel terminated, all because you wanted to teach somebody how to make a soul beat or a trap soul beat or whatever. It's not worth your whole channel getting taken down trying to show somebody a 20-minute tutorial on how to make a trap beat or a soul beat or a sample based beat. So right then what is that going to do? That's going to make music production YouTubers not upload as often. So now you got guys that's like, well, I would upload, but I don't feel like getting copyright strike to death, so I'm just going to not upload. So it's like that's in play. Then you got guys like Weaver Beats. He does a good job of like checking out like the analytics side of what's going on, but I feel like he kind of missed the boat on it, because I saw a video where he was looking at he went to Social Blade, right, and started looking at all the music producers and their analytics and saying, look, their numbers are steady this year. They're not, and he was just looking at this year and a little bit of last year, but mostly this year. And that's not low views for music producers is the new normal. So he's looking at steady, consistent views, but they're low in general. And what I mean by they're low in general, they're low compared to 2 to 4 years ago. Because if you go to I'm talking about any Poplar, from Ocean to Bolo to Accurate Beats to John Makes Beats, I'm saying if you go to anybody's that's a well-known YouTube music producers page and go to the Popular tab, the Popular tab is going to tell you their hit videos, the videos that popped off, right? You're going to see 2 years ago, you'll see tutorials on how to make a bass line in a trap beat, and you're going to see 500,000 views, 600,000 views, 700,000 views, 1.8 million views. And it'd be the simplest topic. It'd be like how to make a groovy soul trap beat. It's like, oh my God, just how to make a sample based beat on an MPC, and the video be 2.5 million views. That's unheard of right now. That's nearly impossible right now. I would go to say it is nearly impossible for a YouTube music producer to do a tutorial video, let alone a cook up. But let's just talk a tutorial video and get 2.5 million views. That's not going to happen in 2025 because people aren't interested anymore. Nobody's trying to be a music producer like that. Nobody's trying to do that anymore because, one, hip hop is kind of declining in itself. You know, hip hop got a little boost from the Drake versus Kendrick beef, but before that, nobody really was caring about any new albums that's dropping. You got everything being streamed, and everybody's streaming numbers is down. Physical copies is non-existent. Those are like, hip hop is kind of on a decline. You can fact check that. Everybody, that's well documented. For the past 2 years, hip hop has been on the decline. Don't argue with me. You can Google it. Ask Chat GPT and let me know what you get. Hip hop not thriving like it used to be. That's going to make people not want to take the career path of saying, hey, I want to be a hip hop music producer, you know. And then the guys that love boom bap and kind of like the older style hip hop beats, they feel like they don't have a place because the young kids are, you know, it's a whole, music has changed so much. The young kids, they got trap and it's like a new version of trap. And It's like mixed with drill. It's like drill trap. And it's like, if you're like a boom bap producer, you're going to just stick to what you know. You know what I mean? Unless you're going to try to chase that like trend. And I firmly believe you're still not going to sound as good as the new kids that like live and breathe, that created that style. You know what I mean? So it's so many factors, way bigger than a Bolo versus Ave beef on whose numbers are low. That's not really important. What's important is the whole community is toxic and non-exist, and it's just dying, really. Like, take guys like I Am Sight, man. He used to have low key he used to have one of the most solid, really great NPC tutorials. I feel like I Am Sight if he would have kept going, I feel like he could have been up there with Av. I really do. I don't know his personal life. I don't know anything that's going on, but he stopped making tutorials. He hasn't made a tutorial in years. And you can go to his page. He hasn't made a tutorial in a year or so, or more. And it's like, I don't know what happened to him. He had a thriving NPC business with the whole merch of NPC Gang. And I'm like, what happened? I know that wasn't like, YouTube wasn't his main thing. I think his main thing was like photography or something, running like a photography business or something. I apologize, I got that all wrong, but I'm trying to remember. He spoke on it a little bit before he kind of like let YouTube go. But it was one of those things where, again, you got another reason people aren't uploading anymore. People are quitting, soft quitting music production, for whatever reason. So you got that playing a role. So what I'm saying is, you got so many factors. I say, speak from personal experience. What had me like not watch music tutorial videos as much is I kind of gave up on making beats, after so long. I had a couple placements, but nothing like really big and major. And then after like 10 years, of just kind of just being invisible in the music game, I just kind of like fell out of love with it. And that's nobody's fault or anything. And it could be I just wasn't cut out for that, and I wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? Maybe I wasn't good at all. But that's the whole thing, is when everybody thinks their beats are better than what they are. You know what I mean? So it's like, when I was in it, I felt like I was close, real close. I was like a beat away from that big placement. I'm a beat away. I'm one email. If Meek Mill just opens this email and listens to 3 attached beats, if Lupe Fiasco opens this email and hears these 3 beats, if Big Sean and if Kid Cudi hears this beat, it's over. So it's like, after like 10 years of thinking that way, you eventually be like, hey, it's time to pick something else. It's time to move on. A lot of tutorial guys did that, and nobody noticed. And it's not to say that like they were not like comparing them to me, because like, take somebody like Curtis King. He's had tons of success. He's in the music industry. He's nothing like me. I was not in the music industry, so I cannot tell you anything about how the music industry works. Curtis King beats, he's still active. He still gets placements. He still makes tons of money from probably older beats that he made, and placements, royalties, all type of stuff. I'm not pocket watching, of course. I'm just assuming. But as far as his tutorials and cookups, he switched up. He switched from strictly doing music tutorials and cookups to covering current events, hip hop topics. And it became where he's turning on the mic and he's just talking about the Kendrick Lamar beef, or he's just talking about the latest hip hop drama that's going on. And it's nothing wrong with that. But you can tell that he saw the writing on the wall. Like, he saw that, like, whoa, hold on. Nobody's interested in this music tutorial stuff like they used to be. And my numbers are low. And then once he switched to doing current events, numbers went crazy. You know what I mean? He got a significant boost. Like, if you go to his popular tab and look at his popular beats, his popular videos, I mean, it's all it's a chunk of videos from like 5-6 years ago where people were like interested in tutorials, and his videos did crazy good, where it's like 700K, 500K views, right? And then you have another chunk of videos that did really good, that's recent, that's like a year ago, 6 months ago. And it's when he switched to doing current events, and when he was doing current event topics and just talking about what's going on in hip hop. So it's like, and what's going on in the world in social media. So it's like, he saw what was coming and switched up in the nick of time. You know what I mean? Instead of like staying doing cook up videos, stay doing tutorials, and then getting frustrated because the videos aren't doing 100K, 200K like they used to. So that's where I feel like Weaver Beats missed the mark, because he was trying to show evidence that, oh, it's no decline in music production on YouTube, and tutorial guys, their numbers are steady this year. Yeah, but look 2 years ago. Compare their numbers from 2 years ago to now. It's a steep decline. It's not even a small decline. It's a big decline. So nobody's saying that these guys aren't consistently working. Nobody's saying these guys aren't consistently putting out content. And nobody's even saying they're not consistently getting traction and views on YouTube. We're comparing 2 years ago from now and looking at the data and looking like, yo, this dude Ocean used to do a video about Logic Pro, how to make a Logic Pro bass line. And the video used to do 300,000 views. And now he does a tutorial and does 3,000 views. Okay. That's what you call a decline. That's the definition of decline. If 2 years ago, Apple was making this much off iPhones, and now they're steadily making a whole lot less in 2025 on iPhones, that's what you call a decline. So that's all the point that Bolo was making. So I'm gonna end this video like this. I'm gonna say Bolo was right. Av was right about himself, and that's it. And there's no beef. But yeah, music production on YouTube is dead. And I'm out.